You're locked in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio, the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm Ralph Brogden. What would be better? What could be better than creating your dream life? I mean, that's really the whole point. For me, the reason I'm in business is so that I can build a business that's going to give me the life that I want. And I think for most rebelpreneurs, most solopreneurs, most entrepreneurs, especially people who are very creative, wouldn't that be great if you could create a business around your passion and you could really live the life that you want on your terms? Today's guest is not only going to help us to get there, but she's actually done it. And she bought the t-shirt, so to speak. She's been there, she's done that, and she can help us get to where we want to be as well. I am so happy to speak with Lola Love. She is a dynamic speaker and author and life coach who inspires, motivates, and empowers audiences to do what she's already done, create the lives of your dreams with amazing adventures that include touring globally as a dancer with James Brown and building a subsequent career as a Hollywood talent manager. Lola has some fascinating tales to tell. She's the author of the book Sweet Tips from Lola's Lips. I love that title, and I'm really excited to have Lola Love on Rebelpreneur Radio. Welcome.
Thank you. I am so happy to be here. This is by divine guidance. Thank you for having me on, Ralph.
I can't wait to dig into what you do for people, how you use energy-based coaching to help people to grow, to improve their lives, to improve their career, finances, relationships, spirituality, all of the important areas of life that people need help with. But before we get into that, first tell us a little bit about your background, and I think we especially want to hear about you running around with James Brown. So tell us, tell us all about. That's such a wonderful hook.
Absolutely, I'll start there. I'm one of 6 girls that was raised in the Bronx, New York, and my entire life, all I ever wanted to do was dance. But my mother insisted that all of her girls go to college, and that's what I had to do. So prior to touring with James Brown, I went to the High School of Performing Arts. I was a theater major, wanted to be a dance major, but I'll get to this later. Somebody said something to me, and I did an audition as a dancer because I was affected by what someone said about my body type. Therefore, I auditioned. I always go where I want to go, not usually the direct path, because I was like everybody else. We believe what other people told us about ourselves. So I became a theater major. I auditioned for the music department. I got into that too, but I decided to do the theater. And then after performing arts, I went to Hofstra University. Well, of course, I didn't want to go, but my mother said you had to go. And after doing 4 years there, coming out as a speech therapist, my manager said to me, "Do you want to audition for the Mamalu Park Dancers?" Just taking it back a little further, when I was like in junior high school, my mother always wanted me to go see James Brown. And I didn't want to go see him because every time he performed at the Apollo Theater in New York City, there were lines wrapped around the block, and Lola doesn't do lines. But one afternoon, my mother encouraged me to go because she knew I loved to dance and she knew he was a great dancer, but I was not going to go. I went. And I was blown away. I saw James Brown center stage, and there was a 3-ring circus. There were dancers all over the stage. Horns were blowing and dancing. I had never seen anything like that, but it was about the dancers. I saw Black dancers. I had never seen Black dancers doing the dances that I love to do, because I grew up in the 60s and you had the Hullabaloo, Shindig, all of those shows, Dick Clark, and they were always white dancers.
Yeah.
So I looked at those dancers and I said, that is what I want to do. That was my dream. That was the energy that was attached onto that show with the dancers. And then I also got a bonus when my manager came to me and asked me if I wanted to audition for the Mama Lou Park dances. Those were the dancers who were dancing on stage with James Brown. And I said, yes, I do. My mother was like, but you just came out of college. My father said, I paid for you to be a teacher, not to be a go-go dancer. And I said, I am going. I auditioned for the Mama Lou Park dances, and she was supplying dancers for the James Brown Review. That was the first time that I realized, not then, but later on, that when you have energy and the desire is so strong and you never let it to go, whew, it comes to you. It may not come right away, but it came. After sitting there in junior high school, going to high school, dancing, going to college, even though I wasn't a dance major in college, but I still danced. And then when my manager stepped to me and asked me if I wanted to audition for the Mama Lou Park dances, that was my dream, and it came true. So then I got to travel all over the world with one of the most talented and creative performers I have ever worked with. And I have worked with a few. He was brilliant. A tough task, maker, but you did it because you wanted to be your best.
Wow.
I've been to Europe, to Africa, and to Japan. And I tell you, the best education you can get is traveling and interacting with the different people. And one thing is common throughout. High energy people always showed up at our concerts, and they had a great time. That's how I got with James Brown.
Well, what a great story. And what I like about that is you had, from the very, very beginning, you knew where your energy was. You knew what you wanted to do, but there's these naysayers, the other voices, from strangers, maybe from friends, certainly from your parents, who said, nah, that's not for you. That's not where you should go. And it took a while for you to overcome that and then to get back into where your passion and your energy was. And that changed the whole direction of your life.
Absolutely. And that's a key point, that internally, emotionally, how we feel, that's real. And then we get all the naysayers or the people who are outside of us trying to redirect our passion. You know that the road you want to take, but people saying, oh, that's not a good road. You should go this road. This is the road I've gone down, or this is the road I've seen other people go down. And then somehow you get it twisted and you think that's the road you go down, and you are unhappy during your journey. Now, of course, it's been many years, and this is what I'm going to get into later about how to recognize your true feelings and to honor them.
So important. No matter what type of a business that we are in or that we want to start or whatever it is that we want to do in life, energy is critical. How we feel, what makes us passionate, what lights us up, because you can't get there intellectually and you can't do what it takes to be a success. If James Brown was not 100% passionate and energetic in what he was doing, he would have burned out.
You're absolutely right. And this is a man who didn't have an education. Okay. This is a man who went on to be a multimillionaire and one of the greatest entertainers in the world. And that's because he believed in himself. And when people came to him and told him, you can't do that. You're nobody. You don't have the money. You don't have the connections. You can't do that. He believed in himself. And that's why he is a success story that I talk about, and anybody that's worked with him or have seen him, they talk about him too as a success story. He's somebody that you can look at and say, wow, he lived his dream. I can live mine too. I have to be that focused and that clear. Now, I got into this because now I am a certified law of attraction, high energy life coach. And I practice being this high energy being because I use the universal laws as my foundation, especially when I work with my clients. And my clients are people who want to feel good because they know when they feel good, they look good. And when they look good, they do good. And when they do good, everything they want flows to them with ease and grace. And that's what expresses living your best life. Feeling good, looking good allows the best people, the best opportunities, and the best life events to happen for you.
Wow. You couldn't say it any better than how you just said it. I mean, that's what it's all about. And mindset is something that we really talk a lot about here, but I think people misunderstand mindset to be a lot of thinking, a lot of cognitive processes. And mindset is really more about energy. It's about passion and connecting yourself to that big thing on the inside. It's not about thinking your way to success. It's really more about feeling your way to success, isn't it?
Yes. My clients know that when they change their perspective and how they see their world changes too, because it's about how you feel. If you see the world as a hard place, that's because you're feeling that. Oh my God, this is so hard. This is too difficult. I can't do this. And so we have to shift the choices and the words that we use because we have to be able to connect with our feelings. I remember when I first started working studying to be a certified law of attraction life coach, I didn't have the words to explain how I felt. And that's because I grew up in the 50s and the 60s where you didn't express your feelings. Yeah. As a matter of fact, you had to hide them, bury them. Don't let anybody know how you feel. So if you don't use your feelings or express them, you won't have the words. Mm-hmm. Therefore, it's about identifying how you feel. And you might have to I know with children today, and I'm so glad I see this, they use it in the special needs population. And as a speech therapist, I worked in the New York City school system for about 10 years. And my specialty was early language development. I worked with the special needs kids and helping them to communicate. And we would show pictures and label the feelings that the pictures represented so they could express, oh, I feel sad, Mommy, or I feel bad, Daddy, or Mommy, it hurts, and I don't know why, and you're crying. It's very painful. Or I'm happy. Yes, Mommy, I'm happy. You ask people if they're happy, and they don't even know what that means.
Going back to what you said, what I like about your approach, Lola, is that you're able to take people from wherever they are and get them higher up the scale of energy and emotion and passion. And I think it's important that people understand that different things move people in different ways. And we're not asking you to imitate Tony Robbins or imitate James Brown or imitate somebody else's energy that you're thinking is high energy and that, oh, I've got to really be like this, or Brendan Burchard, you have in your mind. That is how their energy manifests. But everyone is different and everyone accesses energy and manifests their feelings and their passions very differently, don't they?
Absolutely. That's why it's important. And you said the key word that I work with clients individually.
Yes.
And it's about where they are. And wherever they are, it's important that they identify it, not push it away, not pretend that it's not real. To be able to say, I'm frustrated or I'm really angry. And then they get to talk about it. Today, people don't talk about their feelings. And I encourage people not to talk about your feelings to your family, to your coworkers, your boss. Find a coach. Go to a group where everybody has the opportunity to express their feelings, because when you find that you are expressing and releasing that pent up energy, you feel much better. Because when you bury your feelings, they do appear and they manifest in other kinds of ways that you had no idea they would show up. It's important to identify how you feel, and everybody feels differently, like you said.
Yeah, because my energy is I'm never going. Well, I don't know. I probably should never say never, I mean, just listening to you, I feel like anything is possible. I feel like my energy can go from 3 to 10 just by listening to you, Lola, because you're so impactful, and you're very adept at being able to do that, creating those shifts in yourself so that you can influence others. The implication for Rebelpreneurs and people, especially in helping professions, we have a lot of coaches, a lot of consultants, people in service businesses. You've got to be able to show up, and you've got to be able to create transformation in people's lives. And to do that, you've got to create it in yourself. And if you don't know how to shift your own energy, how will you be able to shift the energy in the people that you are working with? To help bring the best out of them, you've got to bring the best out of yourself. I'm learning that by listening to you, Lola.
Absolutely. And that brings me to how I studied. I'm certified by the Quantum Success Coaching Academy. This is Christy Whitmans Academy, where the program is a year long. And when you go through this program, you are experiencing everything that a client will, because you cannot take a client through anything where you have not gone. I remember when I got tired, or I was not passionate about being a manager, a talent manager, because after I finished touring with James Brown and being a speech therapist, my son decided he wanted to be in the entertainment industry, and I was trying to find him a manager, and the agent said, "No, you have all the expertise to do this. You're his mom, you know this." Well, my son became a very successful TV actor and commercial actor, and therefore I was doing very well. And then other people started bringing their clients to me, or parents were bringing their clients to me, and I was coaching a lot of children, teenagers, and young adults. But when I no longer had the passion, I became a consultant, which meant that come, I'll assess, and I'll recommend. I'll introduce you to managers, agents, casting directors, so forth. But then the artists that were coming to me, I felt as if I was coaching. They had not about the introductions. They didn't have the self-confidence. They didn't have the passion. A lot of them wanted to just be celebrities. But I can't do something that I don't have a background in. So I started looking for graduate programs in psychology for coaching, and what kept coming up was coaching schools. And then my son's dad said, "Why don't you look at Cheryl Robinson's website?" And there was Christy Whitmans Coaching Academy. And I looked at it, and she used a foundation that spoke to my energy, my heart. And I said, this is it. And I just wanted the tools. I didn't want to feel, because remember, I'm coming from a place of not feeling. This was foreign to me.
Right.
But going through the program, it took a year, a complete year, for me to learn how to feel by practicing the foundations we were studying. A lot of coaching programs are 6 weeks, maybe a weekend. And it flabbergasts me how one could do something like that if they've never, ever experienced working with people from an energetic place. It's something you first have to experience. So I understand the shifting of energy. I understand the feelings of doubt. I understand the feelings of fear. And I understand what I need to do to shift myself to a better feeling place. And that's key. When I have clients, that's what they have to be able to identify, what they're feeling. And that takes a while. And to trust that it's okay to express that. And then to ask them, well, how do you really want to feel? Now, that was a big problem for me when they said, how do you feel, or what do you want? Why do you want it? And how will you feel when you get it? When somebody asks you, what do you want? And you're just waiting. Yes, I'll tell you what I want. I'll tell you what I want. And then when you're asked that, you're like, well, what do I really want? So you get to reflect. But as a coach, I had to experience that. That's why I was able to write my book, Sweet Tips from Lola's Lips, 52 ways to change your vibration, to live the life that you choose. It's about you. It's about you taking responsibility, being accountable, and taking inspired action for the direction in which you want to go.
I really love that. And I love the title of your book. I mean, what a great hook, right? Sweet tips from Lola's lips. And even in the way that you spell your name with an exclamation point after Lola, communicates the passion and the energy and the vibration that you're working to, that you're working from and that you're able to help other people to achieve. So you're working with people at all different backgrounds, different levels of energy, and they all want to get more. They want to get more juice out of the orange, so to speak. What's the biggest hindrance? Why is it that it's so hard for us to be aware of our feelings and to acknowledge them and then to make those shifts? Why is that so difficult for people?
Because we're always looking for something that's outside of us. Our source is right there. We're there, but we always think that it's somewhere else. So if we don't self-reflect, if we don't do the work, we then get to shift the focus. I don't care if you're looking for a better job, a partner, a career, more money. I have a lot of clients who are looking for a husband, a baby, you just name it. And they don't want to start with themselves. And to not scare them away, because if you tell somebody what the real deal is up front and they're not used to self-reflection or looking within, they're like, oh no, this is not going to work for me. Therefore, you let them tell you I want a husband. Okay. So what does this husband look like? They'll tell you physically, but not the emotional part. I've had people tell me I want him to be wealthy. I want him to have a job. I want him to be tall, dark, and handsome. Okay. So, do you want him to be compassionate? Do you want him to be trustworthy? Do you want him to be loyal, generous, and kind? Well, yeah, sure. But it never, ever dawned on them that those are the qualities that you might expect in a partner, maybe even in a boss, for someone to be generous, to be kind, who has an ability to listen. People just totally forget that. They just look at something that's totally outside of someone. And then you say, well, yes, if that's what I want, of course I want them to be generous, to be kind, to be loving. You first must also possess those qualities. Okay.
Well, they don't want to hear that all the time, do they?
Like energy attracts like energy. Okay. If you're not getting the job, the husband, the partner, anything that you want, you got to self-reflect and say, what energy am I putting out? What am I vibrating? Because people will meet your energy before they even meet you.
So how do we shift that? And I realize that it can take, in your case, in the in-depth training and coaching program that you went through, it's not something you can do in a weekend. It takes a year to really master this and be able to master it in a way that you can create those shifts in other people's lives. But you have probably mastered this to the point that you can shift your energy in just a few seconds, in a matter of minutes, whereas others, it's going to take longer and they're going to have to work with someone to help them get to that place. But is there a self-help process that can get people moving in the right direction before they even get that step, but maybe to kind of prove to them that this is something that can work for them?
Oh yeah. Like in my book, I suggest and recommend that you write down or use a voice memo to identify how you feel. It's important for you to learn how to become an emotional detective. You want to know how you feel when you wake up, when you leave the house, encounter other people at work, etc. You want to note this on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 meaning you feel great and 1 meaning not so great. And as you start notating this down, you'll see a history or something that repeats itself. When I wake up every morning, I learn, this is what I practice just for today. I am happy. I'm setting my attention right there. Most people wake up to an alarm clock that startles them and they hit reset and now they're sleeping longer. And then when they finally look at the clock, they're rushed and they're angry and they're pissed off and their day is starting off to be a mess. And it's also, if you find yourself doing that again and again, now it's about shifting how you wake up. You wake up and you basically say, just for today, I am having a great day. Just for today, I'm happy. You've got to set that intention. It takes practice. And it took me a while to learn how to understand that I set my day. The day doesn't set me. So if I have somewhere to go and I know there's going to be traffic, then I plan for that. So as I'm driving to wherever I'm going, I'm listening to books on tape. I'm listening to music. I'm listening to Rebelpreneur podcast, radio show. I'm listening to things that make me feel good. So by the time I get there, I am soaring. I am just vibrating out of 10. Whereas if I left late, now I've got traffic. Now I'm angry with everybody around me. And when I finally get to my meeting, I am not the best person that you would want to talk to. So it's about being conscious, being aware, taking responsibility of your time and planning. Now, the second thing that you can do is be aware of what allows you to shift to a higher vibrational feeling. Likewise, what causes you to shift down? For example, do you feel good? Meaning, do you feel loving, joyful, empowered, optimistic? Those are things that bring people to a high vibrational level, because if you're feeling knowledgeable and powerful and optimistic, nobody can come in and tell you, that you don't look good today, or that's not going to work for you. And when you know, it's not about me, it's about that person feeling insecure.
That's right.
You can be strong enough and they won't be able to shift your energy downward when you're not aware that you control how you feel. When you realize that you have a choice to respond versus react, then you are getting the process. And when you learn that, you begin to practice that. And as you practice that, you get more confident. All of a sudden you're vibrating at this very high energy, and people are like, wow, look at Ralph. Hey, Ralph. Hey, can I take you out? Ralph, I'm going to take a trip. You want to go with me? Because I've got these extra tickets and I want somebody that's confident and powerful and energetic as you.
Yeah.
So it's important for you to know what causes you to shift up or what causes you to shift down. Remember, note that in a journal or on a voice memo, whatever's more comfortable to you.
That's such good advice. And I have done that off and on at different points in my life. When something lifted me up, I would write it down in a journal and I put a plus mark next to it. And when something brought me down, I put a minus mark in front of it and I wrote that down. And so I had a list of things that I need to do to instantly shift my state and things that I need to avoid to not shift my state in a negative frame. And all you have to do, like you're saying, is be aware of where you are. And once you have been faithful to record what causes these shifts to go up or down, then all you do is you just pull out your list and say, okay, what do I need? What fun, enjoyable activity can I select from this list of things that I know is going to shift my energy in a positive direction? And it might be listening to Vivaldi. I don't know. It could be anything. And that's how we begin to take responsibility for our own emotional state. And we can begin to shift those states. And it gets easier and easier with practice, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And people are saying, yeah, but what about if somebody comes and they start saying things that cause me to start shifting downwards? Well, remember, you're empowered. You have choices. And you can say to that person, excuse me, that's a topic I don't want to discuss now. If you want to know about the news and you're watching the news and that causes you to be saddened or frustrated or angry, I watch the news by watching comedy shows. They tell you the same information, but they make you laugh, just like that. We have choices, and it's time that we empower ourselves to make those choices. I have 3 sisters left, and one is so powerful because she was diagnosed with cancer 2 years, and I coached her for these past 2 years, and she says, I'm so grateful for you calling I came and spent 30 days with her to make sure she had a good support system. And I talked to her every single day, because when you have a life-threatening disease or health scare, you need that support, and they need to talk. They need to talk, not to say it's not happening, not to say you'll get better, let them talk. But I have 2 other sisters who just gossip. And when they call me, I just say, look, I've got to go right now. I've got another call coming in. I don't engage in it. I choose not to engage in it. You have the power to select the people you interact with. Do you want to interact with somebody that has low vibrations, which can infect you? Energy is contagious now.
Yeah.
It can bring you down. And now you've got to work so hard so you don't get depressed or angry or intoxicated with that negative energy. You are powerful people. Everybody that's listening to my voice, I'm letting you know you are powerful and you can change the interactions with energy that you do not agree with or respond to.
So we have the power. It's right there. And we see that power every day. We are using it in ignorance, and often we are using it to create negative situations instead of positive. So what I love about what you do is you're teaching people how to be aware of it and how to use it in a positive way that creates transformational shifts in their lives and then in the lives of people that you're working with. And again, applying this to your business. If you raise the passion and the awareness of your customers, your clients, if they enjoy doing business with you, if you are someone that they know, like, and trust, you're going to have a more successful business than someone who's putting off negative energy, negative vibration, and actually probably a lot of the problem clients and the difficult customers and the ones that you really don't want to deal with, you attract the exact type of customer or client that you project of yourself and of your own energy.
I couldn't have said it better. Exactly. If you're saying, why do I get all the crazies? Then you've got to do that self-reflection. Why do I get all the angry clients? Why aren't they happy with my services? Self-reflect. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's so powerful and it's simple, and in the very simplicity of it, that's what makes it so powerful and so overlooked. Lola, our time is almost gone, but I want to ask, what are you working on right now that's got you really excited that you'd like to share with our listeners?
What I'm working on now is developing workshops, to do 6-week workshops with people and to get them a foundation, to teach them and train them that they can do this on their own through practice. So the workshops is going to lay the foundation and how they practice and recognize their energy, because first starts with yourself. And if you want a successful business or you want to engage a partner that's going to be on the same level as you, you have to first be projecting that energy. So I'm excited about that. I did one workshop in January and I'm looking to do another one in June. So that's what I'm excited about. And all the information will be on my website. And of course, I'm always using my book, Sweet Tips from Lola's Lips, 52 Ways to Raise Your Vibrations and Live the Life That You Choose. That book is the foundation for my workshops and for all of my talks, because it's always about raising your energy, and what you vibrate is what you attract back.
Very, very powerful. How do our listeners reach out and get in touch with you, Lola?
Lola at lhbconsultcoach.com is my website.
lhbconsultcoach.com. We'll have that link on the Rebelpreneur site as well, so that our listeners can click right through and check out that book and all of the other the products and the upcoming workshops that Lola is putting together. This has been really, it's a cliche sometimes. I always say it's inspirational, it's motivational. I don't know what to call it. All I know is I feel better for having met you, and it's really an honor to have had you on the show. Any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you'd like to share with us?
I would. Ralph, my final thought for your audience is this question. What kind of life are you living? If it's good, awesome. If it's not, what do you need to do to raise your vibration so that you can feel good, so that you can live the life that you choose by design and not by default? I want all your listeners to reflect on how they're living their lives. Now ask yourself, am I living my best life? If the answer is yes, again, congratulations. If you are unsure, then this is the time to contemplate about taking action and trying some new things. Maybe hiring a coach to brainstorm some deep dreams that have been buried for years. Maybe join a group that focuses on the ideas that you want to explore. I want everyone listening to your program, Ralph, to feel good, look good, and live their best life.
Words of wisdom from Lola Love. She is a dynamic speaker, author, and life coach who inspires, motivates, and empowers audiences to do what she has done, and that is to create the life of their dreams. With amazing adventures, she's toured globally as a dancer with James Brown. She's been a Hollywood talent manager, and she has many fascinating stories to tell in her book, Sweet Tips from Lola's Lips. Check that out on her website, lhbconsultcoach.com. Lola, it's been a real pleasure to get to know you. Thanks so much for being on Rebelpreneur Radio today. I really appreciate it.
You are a joy, and it's been delightful. Thank you.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.